Have you ever wondered if you could reach across time and touch the echoes of a life you once lived? Have you ever felt that strange pull, as if parts of your story are missing, scattered across forgotten centuries? And if you could remember, would you want to? Today, we step quietly into that question. In this video, we will explore the truth behind past life regression, who it is really for, what myths have kept so many from discovering their deeper selves, and why the answers you seek may already be closer than you ever imagined. You will learn not just how past life regression works, but how to recognize when your soul is ready, and how to walk this path with clarity, courage, and an open heart. By the end of this journey, you may not just understand past life regression differently. You may begin to understand yourself differently. I remember the first time I heard about past life regression. I laughed quietly to myself. It sounded like a fantasy, a dream spun by those who wanted magic in a world that felt far too ordinary. But the questions stayed with me. Questions I could not shake. Why did some fears seem to live inside me without a beginning? Why did certain places, certain faces, feel so painfully familiar? Years later, sitting in a simple, quiet room, I took my first step inward. There were no flashing lights, no grand visions, only a sense like opening a long-forgotten door inside my chest and hearing a voice that somehow had always been mine. Today, I want to share that journey with you, not as a teacher, not as an expert, but as a fellow traveler walking a path that has no maps, only the steady rhythm of the soul calling you home. Let us begin. There is a moment, quiet but insistent, when a question rises inside you, not loud, not demanding, but steady, like the heartbeat you rarely notice until you sit still enough to hear it. For me, it came in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, when everything around me seemed normal, but something inside whispered, "Is this really all there is? Is there more to me than this name, this body, this lifetime?" I did not have answers then, only a longing, a soft pull towards something unseen and unknown. When I first heard about past life regression, it sounded distant, like a story belonging to someone else. Not me, I thought. Maybe only spiritual masters can do that. Maybe you need to be special, gifted, chosen. But as I began to listen, to read, to open just a little more, I discovered something different, something deeper. Past life regression is not a skill reserved for a rare few. It is not about having a supernatural gift or being more enlightened than others. It is about tapping into the deep well of memory that exists within every soul. Because memory, real memory, does not live in the mind alone. It lives in the body, in the emotions, in the silent spaces between your thoughts. Many people believe that only those who are highly intuitive or deeply spiritual can experience regression, but the truth is simpler and far more beautiful. Anyone with an open heart, a willing mind, and a little patience can access the echoes of who they once were. You do not need to believe in anything grand. You do not need to force anything to happen. You only need to become quiet enough, still enough, to let what is already inside you rise naturally. I once knew a man, an engineer by trade, logical, methodical, grounded in the tangible world. He had never meditated, never studied spirituality, never even considered the idea of past lives. But during a simple relaxation session, guided gently into deeper awareness, he began to see flashes, a desert city, a market filled with bright fabrics, and a deep grief he could not explain. It changed nothing outwardly about his life, but inwardly, it opened a door, and knowing that there was more to his existence than the years counted in this lifetime. A small lesson I learned through my own journey. The ability to remember, to reconnect, is not about being spiritual enough or worthy enough. It is about being human, fully, completely, courageously. Past life regression is not a magic trick. It is a remembering. It is the soul softly whispering to itself across the corridors of time. Now that we have set aside the myth that only a chosen few can experience regression, it is time to look deeper. What other myths are holding us back from embracing this journey? In the next part of our path together, we will explore the biggest myths about past life regression and why they are not just wrong, but deeply limiting. Let us walk a little further into the truth. Before we can walk deeper into the journey, we must first set down the heavy bags, the stories we have been told, the myths we have unknowingly carried. Because myths, no matter how softly they were spoken, become invisible walls, keeping us from stepping fully into our own truth. The first myth, past life regression, is only for the spiritual elite. There is an old idea, quiet but persistent, that past life regression is reserved for the deeply enlightened, the monks, the healers, the mystics. But the truth is simpler and far more generous. You do not need to reach some mythical level of awakening. You do not need perfect peace. You need only sincerity, a heart willing to listen, a mind willing to soften. It is not about how high you have climbed. It is about how deeply you are willing to sink into yourself. The second myth, you must believe without question. Some people fear that if they walk into a regression with doubt, the door will slam shut before them. But doubt is not the enemy. Doubt is the beginning of discernment, the first step of any true seeker. You do not need blind faith. You need honest curiosity. Regression welcomes the cautious heart, the questioning mind, the soul that says, "I do not know, but I am willing to explore." The third myth, every regression reveals dramatic visions. We have been sold the idea, through stories and movies, that a past life journey must be a grand spectacle, filled with kings and queens, ancient battles, epic love stories. But real memory is quieter than that. Sometimes it is a simple image, a dusty road under a setting sun, the smell of baking bread from a market stall, the sound of a child's laughter in a forgotten village. True memories are not measured by how dramatic they are, but by the deep resonance they stir in the heart. The fourth myth, if you do not see anything, you have failed. Many people walk away from their first experience feeling disappointed because they did not see visions as clear as dreams. But the soul speaks many languages. Sometimes it speaks in colors, in emotions, in sudden understandings that words cannot capture. And sometimes it speaks only in silence. And in that silence, something inside you shifts forever. There is no failure, only different ways of remembering. I once knew a woman who spent her entire first session feeling nothing but warmth in her chest. No visions, no voices, just a golden warmth. She thought she had failed. But over the next few weeks, that warmth unfolded into dreams, into memories, into a deep healing she had long been searching for. A small lesson I carry close to my heart. The soul remembers, not through spectacle, but through sincerity. It is not about creating an experience. It is about surrendering to whatever experience is meant for you. And when you do, you realize that the truth of who you are was never really hidden. It was only waiting for you to be ready to see it. Now that we have cleared away some of the heaviest myths, the road ahead is clearer, and the next step is calling. How do you know if you are truly ready to explore the depths of your own timeless story? In the next part of our journey, we will listen for the signs, the gentle invitations of the soul that tell you the time has come. There is a rhythm, older than memory, older than fear, that beats quietly beneath the surface of your life. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear it. It is the sound of readiness, not the readiness of the mind, pushing, striving, demanding, but the readiness of the soul, soft, steady, unmistakable. Many people ask, am I ready for past life regression? How will I know? The truth is, readiness is not something you think your way into. It is something you feel quietly, deeply, without needing to explain it. Sign 1. A deep curiosity that will not let go. It is not a passing interest, not something you read about once and forget. It is a question that circles back again and again. What else lives inside me? What have I carried across lifetimes? What truths are sleeping in my bones? If you feel that steady curiosity, not forced, not frantic, but persistent and gentle, you may already be closer than you think. Sign 2. A willingness to see whatever comes. Many seek past life regression, hoping for beautiful stories, romantic memories, glorious pasts. But true readiness means you are willing to see whatever needs to be seen, even if it is painful, even if it challenges the image you hold of yourself. The soul is not concerned with comfort. It is concerned with wholeness. If you are willing to meet yourself in light and shadow, you are ready. Sign 3. A stable emotional ground. Regression can stir deep waters, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent. It is important to step into this journey from a place of emotional stability, not perfection, not absence of pain, but the ability to hold yourself through whatever arises. If you feel strong enough to be tender with whatever you find, then the door may already be open for you. Sign 4. No urgency, only openness. True readiness is quiet. It is not desperate. It is not impatient. If you feel an openness, a soft spaciousness around the idea of exploring your past lives, rather than a gripping urgency to fix something, then you are moving from the right place. The soul does not rush. It invites. I once met a woman who came to a regression session full of anxiety, desperate for answers. She wanted to force the experience, to demand a memory, but nothing came. Later, after months of slowing down, meditating, softening her heart, she returned, this time with no expectations, only a quiet willingness to see whatever was true. And that day, the memories unfolded naturally, like a book she had been carrying all along, waiting for her hands to soften enough to open it. A small lesson I have learned: the soul is like a shy animal. It does not come when called with shouting. It comes when you sit quietly, in the stillness, offering your presence without condition. Readiness is not about trying harder. It is about listening deeper. If you feel that listening awakening inside you, if you feel your heart leaning gently forward, then perhaps you are ready. And if not, that is beautiful too, because the journey will wait for you until you are ready to walk it with open eyes and an open heart. Now that you know how to recognize the signs of readiness, it is time to take a closer look at what actually happens when you step across that threshold. In the next part of our journey, we will walk together through the actual experience of a past life regression session, step by gentle step. Let us continue. Stepping into a past life regression session is not like stepping onto a stage. There are no bright lights, no dramatic music, no guarantees of spectacle. It is quieter than that, simpler, more sacred. It is a soft return to something you have always carried within you. Step 1. Preparation. Creating the sacred space. The journey begins long before you close your eyes. It begins when you set the intention, when you create space within yourself, free from noise, free from expectation. In a session, your guide will help you relax, slowly, gently, guiding your body into a state of deep rest, and your mind into a place of soft openness. The outer world fades, the inner world begins to shimmer at the edges. Step 2. deepening the state, reaching the doorway through gentle words, through rhythmic breathing. Your awareness begins to shift. You are not asleep. You are not fully awake. You are somewhere in between, in a place where imagination and memory intertwine, where images, feelings, and fragments of stories begin to surface like leaves floating up from the bottom of a still pond. It is here, in this in-between place, that the doorway opens. Step 3. Exploration. Walking through the memories. Once you cross that threshold, you may begin to experience a scene, a feeling, a sensation. Maybe you see yourself walking down a dusty road. Maybe you hear the faint clang of blacksmiths hammering iron. Maybe you simply feel the heavy sadness of a goodbye long forgotten. The guide may ask gentle questions. Where are you? What do you see? What do you feel? But the experience is yours, and yours alone. There is no right way to remember, only your way. Step 4. Integration. Gathering the lessons. As the memories unfold, you are not there to judge. You are there to witness, to gather the threads of your past with tenderness and understanding. What matters most is not the details you recall, but the emotions, the lessons, the healing that rises from the depths. Maybe you realize why you have always feared the ocean. Maybe you understand why certain people in your life feel so achingly familiar. The past offers its wisdom, not as a burden, but as a bridge to your deeper self. Step 5. Return, closing the circle. When the journey feels complete, your guide will gently call you back. Slowly, carefully, you return to the present, carrying the gifts of what you have seen, what you have felt, what you have reclaimed. And though the outer world looks the same, something within you has shifted, has deepened, has come home. I remember my first session vividly, not because of grand visions, but because of the small, quiet truths it uncovered. A single scene, a single emotion was enough to change the way I saw myself, the way I held my life, not with regret, but with a tenderness I had never known I needed. A small lesson I carry from that day: past life regression is not about escaping your life. It is about embracing it more fully with the wisdom of all the lives you have ever lived and all the strength you have ever gathered. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are a tapestry woven from countless journeys, and you are more whole than you can possibly imagine. Now that you understand what truly happens during a session, you are ready for the final step: how to approach past life regression with wisdom, with patience, and with a heart wide open to whatever your soul is ready to share. Let us walk together into the last part of this journey. At the edge of every journey, there comes a choice, not a choice of destination, but a choice of how we walk, with fear or with trust, with force or with surrender, with a mind grasping for answers or with a heart open to discovery. Past life regression is not just about what you see. It is about how you meet what rises. It is about the spirit you carry into the experience. The difference between a fleeting vision and a life-changing awakening is not the memory itself. It is the way you hold it. First, enter without expectation. Expect nothing, and you will find everything. If you demand visions, they may flee. If you insist on certain outcomes, you may miss the quiet gifts offered in their place. Walk into the experience as you would walk into a sacred forest, not to conquer it, not to map it, but simply to be with it, to listen to its language, to feel its breath against your skin. Second, trust the form your experience takes. Maybe you see clear images. Maybe you only feel emotions. Maybe you simply know something deep in your bones. Each way is valid. Each way is sacred. Memory does not always come wearing faces and names. Sometimes it comes wearing a sigh, or a shiver, or a single word that lingers like smoke in the air. Whatever comes, welcome it. Third, choose your guide with care, if you seek one. If you walk this journey with someone beside you, choose a guide who honors the mystery, not someone who tries to explain it away. A true guide does not lead. They walk beside you. They hold the lantern while you open the door. If you feel pressured, judged, or rushed, trust that feeling. Your soul deserves gentleness and respect. Fourth, integrate what you find slowly and lovingly. Past life regression is not a performance, it is a remembering. A returning after a session. Give yourself space. Journal your feelings. Sit quietly with what you experienced. Let the lessons settle into you, like rain sinking into thirsty earth. Do not rush to tell the story or to make it make sense. Trust that your soul knows how to weave the threads into your life in its own perfect time. I remember after one of my early regressions, I felt both exhilarated and overwhelmed. I wanted to tell everyone, to explain every detail, but instead, I chose silence. I chose to sit with the feelings, to let them teach me slowly. And what unfolded was not just a deeper understanding of my past, but a more tender relationship with my present. I learned to walk softer, to listen deeper, to love the unfinishedness of being human. A small lesson I want to leave you with. The past does not call to you to trap you there. It calls to remind you that you have always been vast. You have always been strong. You have always been so much more than this single moment could ever contain. Regression is not about escaping. It is about embracing the fullness of who you are. You are the dreamer and the dream, the traveler and the road, and every memory you recover is a light you rekindle inside your own heart. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. Wherever you are on your path, whether you are ready to step into the memories or simply sitting quietly by the door, know that your soul, patient and wise, holds your story with infinite love. And when you are ready, the past will welcome you home, not to trap you, but to free you, always and forever.